What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with Gab and Maui. Pang ilang Boleros episode na natin to today, but we just had to do another Gilas fight for the semis, and despite that 2-point loss, Gilas moves on to the semis. Oh my God. Can you believe this, Maui and Gab? Grabe, 'di ba? Grabe. But before we
Grabe.
talk about this, before we talk about this Gilas game, we do have to mention our sponsor for today, Gab.
So this episode is brought to you by Cotton Club Underwear and NYC Underwear. Cotton Club, I love it here. Sando is life, bro. Sando is life. Bilhin na kayo ng Sando dahil nasa semis na ang Gilas!
Malamang
Woo!
marami sa inyo
God.
nakapantulog na, maybe nakasando na rin, pero gising na gising dahil sa game na yon sa Gilas. So, I was talking to the guys off air. Sa totoo lang, hindi ko to napanood. I only saw like the last 15 minutes of the game.
Sakto lang.
Oh, sakto. When Dwight hit that 3 to keep the game within 5. Before that, I saw they were down 20 points. Anyari, guys? Anyari from down 20 and then back in the game, Dwight hitting that 3. Take through the game, Gab.
Well, it was a really bad start by the Philippines. I thought Georgia came out as the more desperate team, and they were. They had to win by 19 points. I think if you weren't familiar with the stakes at this game, the Philippines could advance if they won, even if they lost, as long as they lost by 18 or less. And Georgia would advance if they won by 19 or more. And Georgia came out as the more desperate team. And the Philippines, I don't want to make excuses na less than 24 hours lang ang turnaround time nila from their previous game. But they look like that was the case. They looked like that they were fatigued, that they had no aggression, like they weren't into the game. I think Coach Tim Ko in his first time out said so. All right, it's time to get into the flow of the game. Halatang hindi pa sila gising. Diba? How many turnovers did they commit in the first quarter? 7? Like 7 turnovers in the first quarter.
Parang first 4 minutes, 6 agad, Gab.
Yeah.
I think.
First 4
I'm
minutes. Tama. 6 turnovers, and I think as the quarter wore on, they took care of the ball, but they committed one more.
I think 20 turnovers. Mga 20 turnovers by the end of the game.
Yes. And I like the game plan by Georgia. As we said this morning lang pala tayo nag-podcast, Maui. Sobrang bilis na turnaround time natin. Anyway, as we said this morning, in the Latvia game, we gave up a lot of open looks to the Latvia shooters. They just weren't hitting. In this game, Georgia was hitting their threes, mainly off closeouts from Kai Soto, Junmar Fajardo. You know, Kai and Junmar, they're not as quick enough to close out that hard, so they soft closeout. It's a soft closeout. And in the previous game, Latvia wasn't hitting, but in this game, Georgia was hitting their threes, and as soon as Georgia started hitting their threes, now the big men, Japeth, Kai, Junmar, started closing out harder, and that led to a lot of easy baskets in the paint, especially by their team captain, si Shengalia. I'm not.
Grabe yun, bro.
Yeah,
Galing
grabe. Because he's much quicker than Kai, than Junmar, than Japeth. So he was attacking the closeouts. And halata, even towards early in the second quarter, the start of the second quarter, that was still their game plan. Keep Gilas in rotation, find a shooter where a big man was gonna close out and attack that. And they were attacking over and over again. Unlike the game versus Latvia, hindi maka-establish si Kai and Junmar sa loob. Yung tama ka, Maui, yung sinabi mo yung this morning, it will be a very different game against Georgia. And it was very different. Goga Betance was there. And halata, Kai could not get position in the paint. Junmar cannot get position in the paint. None of the entry passes were easy. Diba? And it's different when you have a rim protector of an NBA caliber center like Goga Betance because no easy baskets. You have to be creative with how you get a shot over him. So very different start. All of those factored into a good start by Georgia. Lackadaisical Philippine start. They looked fatigued. They looked like they weren't in it. Plus, Georgia was picking up the pace. But the second quarter, and I think Maui, you will get into this. The zone defense came into play.
Yeah, the zone.
The zone defense. And I like that
So
we saw...
as early as the second, nag-zone na sila.
Yes.
Kasi second half zone na all exclusively eh, diba?
Yeah.
Second half zone exclusively. Okay, so as early as the second. Okay, go ahead, Gab.
As early as the second, they went into the zone, and it was really great that we saw the timeout where Tim Cone actually said that, okay, we're going... I think it was 40-20. I think that was the exact point. When the lead was 40-20, Tim Cone called the timeout, and I love it because there's a zoom in of Tim Cone, and he actually said, okay, we barely practice. I think he said we barely practice this, or we didn't practice this enough, but we're going zone. And
Sinabi niya yun?
He said that.
Niya.
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure if he said we barely practice this or we didn't practice this, but he put the players in the position. Okay, this is the zone we're gonna go to. This is what we're running, because he knew that if they kept on playing man to man, Georgia would play fast. They would get a lot of threes, and they would exploit those closeouts. You by the big men. It was just get to the basket. So the zone did three things for the Philippines. One, very important, it slowed down the game. Very important because Georgia made it an effort to speed up the game because the Philippines on the other end of the floor wanted to slow down the game. So Coach Tim Cone, okay, we're just gonna set this zone. We're gonna force you to play slow. And for a team that needed to win by 19 points or more, that was really hard because if the game is slowing down, you have to get points off ball rotation, off drives, off kickouts. That's how you were gonna get your points. You just have to beat the zone. The second thing it did, it preserved Junmar and Japeth because in the second quarter, Kai got injured and did not return to the game.
Hindi na bumalik, no? After that, tama ba?
Di na bumalik.
Okay.
And I think he could have.
He wasn't able to go back after that hard foul by Goga.
Meron bang meron na bang update?
Pero he went
on that,
straight to the hospital now.
The reason.
Based on the post game.
Okay.
The post game, there was an update. He is in the hospital according to Coach Tim Cone. He's getting his ribs checked out right now. They're hopeful naman that he can still play. I think that's very crucial moving forward also.
Oh, but I think if that were really a must-win situation, I think Kai would have gone back in, and Coach Tim would have put Kai back in the game. So that's just me. Feel ko, based on the flow of the game, Coach Tim was just trying to feel it out whether he could put Kai back, if it's enough to put Kai back. So anyway, I was saying. And then the third thing it did, aside from slowing down the pace and preserving our bigs, is it forced Georgia to just not play their game. This was not their game. They were mainly a 3-point shooting team for most of the second half. And gotta love the adjustment. Ang tibay ni Coach Tim. Kahit na sometimes the zone was, diba? Sometimes the zone was getting broken down, but Coach Tim said, no, we're sticking to the zone. You have to win by 19 points. It is on you. And offensively in the second half, Justin Brownlee. Actually, first half pa lang eh. Freaking Justin Brownlee. He's like Michael Jordan of the Philippines. Grabe si Justin Brownlee.
At one point, he was 10 for 13. At one point, he was 10 for 13. I think in the third quarter,
10
and then
for
he had 26 points.
Wild.
10 for 13, Sam.
He already had 26 points during the third
yung
quarter.
Yung napanood ko, for me, epitome of the Justin Brownlee game was that 3-point shot na walang play, he took the 3, tapos it just bounced pataas, tapos pumasok pa para ako. It has to be his day. Akala ko mananalo na tayo after he hit that shot eh. Yeah, go ahead, Gab.
So one last point before I let Maui do his thing. The bench responded, and I love it. They answered the call. We criticized the
Everyone
bench
stepped
for
up.
their...
Perez,
yan.
Aguilar.
Diba? Carl
Very
Tamayo, wala si Kai, you were put in a situation, made big plays, made big shots. Took an elbow, but laban pa rin. Si Carl Tamayo. Japet Aguilar got a vintage Bastos jam. Shout out to
Bastos
Boomer
jam.
John.
Meron din siyang
May block
bastos
din
na
siya.
block,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Grabe yung block.
After that play ata.
So, who else? CJ Perez, I think it was perfect from the field.
I think
Chris
perfect
Newsom,
from 3. Yeah.
Chris Newsom barely played in the fourth quarter, I think. It was all CJ Perez. Dwight Ramos hitting timely shots, timely threes. And that's it. We're in the semis, bros. Mga Pilipino, we're in the semis. We have a shot to make it
We
to the
have a shot.
Olympics.
We're in the semis.
Who would
Maui.
have thought, di ba, that will be
Maui,
the
go ahead.
semis?
Anong
We could have won
pakiramdam
also
mo,
na game
Maui?
kanina.
Anong pakiramdam mo? Kasi alam ko, shocked na shock ka from the Latvia game. Like, how do you feel now? Anong reaction mo?
I will borrow a line from Coach Tim's press conference. Thank you to Naveen for posting this on X, our friend Naveen. Coach Tim said, this was the first time I felt good about losing. Diba? We lost the game.
Oo nga. Yeah.
But we saw the heart of the Filipino to fight kanina, diba? We were down 16-0. They could have given up. They could have just said, di talaga kaya, and packed their bags and gone home. When Kai Soto was injured, we could have backed down, and Carl Tamayo could have not stepped up. Japet Aguilar couldn't have not stepped up. But everyone stepped up, di ba? Newsom and Dwight Ramos, both of them have been spectacular. Itong first 2 games, I would say. Si Newsom, I'm really impressed. I think he's really carried a lot of momentum from that championship run of Meralco in the PBA.
Yung 2 layups niya over
I was
Goga.
skeptical at first.
Diba?
Grabe talaga. It feels good finally, 'di ba? I think Gab, we touched on this during our episode just this morning. It finally feels good to feel the hope, 'di ba? The hope that we're going somewhere. Kasi we've been stagnant since 2013, since we went to the World Cup. We haven't had a lot of successes. We had all heartbreaks mostly, and very toxic environment from all of the fans and everyone, the stakeholders basically.
Mga kapwa Pilipino na yung nag-aaway no?
Mga kapwa Pilipino na nag-aaway, which is not good, di ba? And when they named Coach Tim Cone the coach, there wasn't a lot of optimism pa rin, di ba, on what will happen to the Gilas program, especially since he decided to shorten yung pool niya, but it seems it really worked out in the end. It has worked out, di ba? Him having players who know his system has worked out, especially during the Latvia game, di ba? I think yung coach ng Latvia was interviewed na he mentioned that the system of Coach Tim, the triangle offense, is not a very basic system of basketball, di ba? And it's working so far, di ba?
Alright.
These are two juggernauts.
Go, Maui, go.
These are two top 20 teams, 'di ba? In FIBA, in terms of FIBA rankings, 'di ba? They are European teams. We did not expect them to be able to go toe to toe against these two teams, and yet here we are. 'Di ba? We're probably going against Brazil. Sabi ko nga, I don't care kung sino yung kalaban natin next. Clearly si Coach Tim also didn't want to gamble kanina. We just want to really get to the next level, to get to the next step, which is the semifinals. Grabe yung adjustments si Coach Tim talaga kanina, especially the zone defense. I think si Navs also posted kanina on the press conference. Coach Tim was asked about the zone defense. He mentioned that he doesn't even like to play zone. 'Di ba? So what Gab mentioned kanina, yung coach by coach Tim Cone, it's probably true. They
They didn't
probably didn't
practice it.
practice they probably did practice zone defense a lot, but it worked in the end, 'di ba? We were able to claw back into the game. Alam mo, it's very it's very inspiring. They started 0-16. Imagine. I was telling Gab kanina before you Sammy entered our stream that I was already losing hope. Sabi ko patay. What's gonna happen, 'di ba?
Wala na, ganun.
We just need to close out the game and not lose by 19, but it's already 16-0, 'di ba, to start off the game. But Justin Brownlee carried us. Basically carried us during the first two quarters, especially nung 16-0. I think yung first 10 points natin, Justin Brownlee probably assisted or scored on them. But yeah, the good thing that I really saw kanina is they never panicked. Their effort never wavered. Diba? Despite playing the game less than 24, the Latvia game less than 24 hours before this game. Very inspirational, and I'm hoping that this is really a stepping stone for Gilas to probably get into the top 20 again. Diba? We're at 37, ranked 37 right now. I think during the time of Coach Chot, we peaked at around 25 to 30. Diba? What I'm hoping is that we can catapult ourselves back to top 25 and then maybe build on that. Diba? We have a lot of building pieces. Sila Carl Tamayo. Si Carl Tamayo, grabe. Imagine playing very bad last night and then getting thrust into that role kanina when Kai Soto was injured.
Wala nang
he really
choice,
played well on both of the floor. Wala nang choice. 'Di ba? Tsaka swabe talaga ni Carl Tamayo. And I'm hoping yung stint niya in Korea will also help him to get to places farther than Asia or even back to the B League possibly. Grabe, speechless.
Speechless talaga
I'm
si
so
Maui
happy.
nawala.
I'm so excited.
Ayan.
I'm not even thinking about the next game right now. We can enjoy
Tama,
this for the
enjoy
next 2
natin to.
days. Sam,
Oo. Kailan ba ang next game, by the way? Would may
the next game is I think July 6. I'm
6
not
pa. Okay. Sige. Anyway, nawawala si Maui ulit. So, but I think yung isang magandang nasabi ni Maui doon, no, sa game is what's really great about the two games that we saw was we saw different people step up. 'Di ba? It was Justin Brownlee who really carried the team in both games. Pero we saw different people step up in both games. And that gives you hope na parang, uy, solid talaga yung team na to. Anybody can step up. Walang freeloader, kumbaga. And yung maganda dito, Maui, you mentioned this kanina. What's so exciting is, but may halong veterans and mga bata. Justin Brownlee, one of the concerns actually overall dun sa 12-man rotation ni Coach Tim. We loved the hiring of Coach Tim. I remember when they announced the Coach Tim hiring, we reacted to it. We loved it. But as Maui mentioned, we questioned yung short rotation ni Coach Tim, yung 12-man rotation. Obviously, we've been proven wrong. It has been very effective so far.
Di ba? Without Scotty.
Without Scotty, naging 11 pa. So, mas lalo natin question, but hindi mo man lang finil yung gap na yon, etc. But we have been proven wrong. We have been surprised. Coach Tim has made the most out of what he has. And yung maganda dito is, it's really the mix of like the veterans and the young ones, diba? May kita mo, we were talking about Japet Gab, yung bastos jam niya, yung block niya, and the very limited minutes where he played, but those were so crucial yung minutes na yun. And ikaw, pati yung announcers parang, this is amazing to see the captain, 37-year-old, helping the team make it to the semi. So it's so amazing to see that. At the same time, the young guys, like Maui mentioned, Carl Tamayo, yesterday against Latvia si Kai Soto, we can see the future eh. Nakikita natin na okay, these guys are going to be the future of Gilas, and it's exciting. Obviously, Dwight Ramos is already a solid core of the Gilas team, and he's still relatively young, obviously, 'di ba? So that's what excites me, and that's what gives me hope. Ngayon, we're competing, we're in the semifinals, kahit natalo tayo, excited tayo, masaya tayo. But at the same time, mas mas nakikita mo na yung vision, I guess, ni Tim Cone na, okay, ito yung roadblock to the plan.
May
I
glimmer
forget,
of hope.
ano nga ba
May
yung
glimmer
plan
of
nila?
hope,
Was it
Sam.
like a 4-year plan? Oh, may glimmer of hope eh. Dun sa
May glimmer of
4-year
hope.
plan to make it to whatever, di ba? Nakikita mo na, okay, may pag-asa. And again, we're missing Scotty. We're missing AJ Edu. Probably like our best defensive big. If we can just get those two guys, what else can Coach Tim Cone do, 'di ba? So, it's not just watching this team compete and win and make it to the semifinals now. It's not just yun yung exciting eh. It's also like long term na excite ka with the other possibilities. Para sa akin yun yung ano eh, na-excite din ako long term. Um Gab, uh you talked about what happened in the game. Let's talk about yung nangyari dun sa ending. Na-mention ni Maui, 'di ba? Like Coach Tim didn't want to risk it. He doesn't want overtime. Explain mo nga what happened at the end of that game and why Goga decided to medyo na nagulat ako dun sa tip in ni Goga eh.
Ginawa rin
Well,
natin before yun. If you
yes,
remember
we
correctly,
did.
di ba?
Legit ba yun?
Marcus Doughtit. Yeah, Marcus Doughtit, I
Hindi
think.
ko
Or
maalala.
probably si Bratch. Not sure. Anyway, Gab.
Uh, First of all, before the last possession, it's funny again. I love that FIBA does this, that they zoom in on the bench and you can hear everything that's being said on the bench, because before that last play, it just zoomed in on Coach Tim Cone and Coach Richard Del Rosario. And Coach Tim was just staring. I don't know where he was staring. I think far away. He was just thinking, are we going to win this? Are we going to send it to overtime? Or are we just going to run down the clock? He was just staring for a good, a minute or 30 seconds. He was staring into the distance, just thinking about what to do. And then he finally said, all right, I think it wasn't clearly said already. I think it was on mute already when he was addressing the team. But I think he said, all right, if we're going to go into overtime, we might just give them a shot to get up by 19. So, and that's what they did come out of that timeout, which is basically run the clock down. There was a reason that they decided to inbound from the backcourt. Run the clock down. If it went to overtime, if that would be an additional 5 minutes. I think the commentators were saying this perfectly. The Philippines does not want to go into overtime. It's either you win or just take this loss, because if you go into overtime, you give them 5 more minutes, baka matambakan ba kayo by 19 points and then you not make it. And when
Who
they
knows?
fouled, who knows, diba? When they fouled Chris Newsome, he made the first free throw. I don't know if he intentionally tried to miss the second one. I think he tried to make it, but he missed it. And then Goga, because it was a 2-point lead, he tried to dunk it home in the Philippine basket so that it will go into overtime. But it went in and out. And honestly, I think the ref would have disallowed it anyway.
Wouldn't have
So
counted it. Okay.
it wouldn't have counted, but that was funny. And shout out to Goga, man. That was
Shout
one
out to
hell of a
Goga.
moment.
Shout out to Goga.
Parang before it was disallowed kay Marcus Doughtit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't think
Kaya Pilipinas was getting more flank. Yeah.
I don't think FIBA would allow those kind of shenanigans. And before we move on to our next segment, guys, we have a word from our other sponsor. So again, this episode is brought to you by Hype 24/7 Fitness. Feel the hype. And I'm sure everyone feels the hype from that Gilas win.
Hype na hype
Let's
kayo.
go!
Why not work out?
All right. What if we move on to our next segment? So to look forward, what have we learned from this game? Let's start with you, Sam, since you baka makaalis ka na sa pod na
Yeah,
to
I
go
have to
watch
go
your
in a
daughter.
bit. I have to go in a bit. Um, yeah, I think na-mention ko na for me it's really the hope. It's really the hope for me na there basically sky's the limit na ngayon eh, I would say. Maui, sino ang potential kalaban natin? It's probably Brazil,
Brazil.
right?
Probably Brazil,
And
yeah. Most likely
anong
Brazil.
rank ng Brazil ngayon? Would you know?
I think Brazil is ranked 10 to 15, 13 or 14 if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So, I think, yeah, pretty much ganon, di ba? But basically, like, Latvia is ranked higher than Brazil. We already beat
6.
Latvia
Latvia
eh.
6.
We already beat Latvia. So, i-all out na natin to, guys. I think people are excited. People have hope. Obviously, a lot of it will also rely on the health of the players. I think Kai Soto getting checked and getting all the rest that he can. But Brownlee, we overused Brownlee. May kita mo talagang pagod na siya dun sa game kanina. He barely gets to rest. I think as much rest as they can, they have to do it. And they have to prepare for Brazil next. But I think everyone has hope. Hindi na to yung parang for the longest time, as Maui mentioned, ako kasama ako doon. Very skeptical. I don't even bother watching the Gilas games na before because I had no hope eh. Parang paulit-ulit na lang laging talo or laging disappointment, 'di ba? But this feels very different. This feels very different. So I think that's one, yung hope. But second, we already talked about it then is what I really 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 love about this game more than kahit natalo tayo, uh, I love that other guys contributed. I think I cannot emphasize that enough. Kasi that was one of the worries that we had yesterday. Um, we won yesterday. We imposed our size, but limited lang, 'di ba? I think it was really just the starting five that had a very positive impact yesterday.
30
And
plus minutes of playing time. I think most of
eh,
the starting five.
correct, exactly. And we could barely play the bench. And ito sa akin, if you ask me, which was a bigger win for me, parang ito eh. Sa totoo lang, kahit natalo tayo. Because this showed me na even without Kai Soto, one of our starting bigs, one of the dominant players from the Latvia game, even without Scotty Thompson, CJ Perez has stepped up. Japet Aguilar has stepped up. We saw Carl Tamayo finally step up. He hasn't had a good game, to be honest, sa Gilas or that much of an impactful game. So, that gives me even more hope. Kasi, sa totoo lang, the longer we go, the deeper we go into this competition, it's going to be harder to rely on the main guys. Because they're going to get tired. Number one, yung fatigue, that will creep in. And I feel like meron na nga si Justin Brownlee ngayon. But number
It
two,
showed
the
no
more we're
start that
going...
game, Sam.
Exactly. But number two, the more we're going to get scouted. Nakita nyo naman yung adjustments or yung strategy that Georgia did versus Gilas, as Gab explained earlier. The adjustments that they made to counter yung bigs, yung slow-footed bigs ng Gilas. So for me, it's more important that we give the other guys confidence. And that's why for me this is such a big win. Even though we lost, I feel like this is a confidence booster for guys like CJ Perez, for Carl Tamayo. Even KQ, he missed his free throws, he missed that he took that fast break 3 that he missed. But the fact that KQ took a fast break 3, I think it shows na parang he's feeling more comfortable, he's getting more confident. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a breakout game from KQ in the next round. So for me, yun, two takeaways ko yun. The from like these two games. Gab, Maui.
All right. I'll go first. So, what can we learn from this game against Georgia? Well, one, I think you mentioned it, Sammy. We have to get more production from the bench, especially I think Calvin Oftana, Carl Tamayo, and even si KQ have to produce because Justin Brownlee cannot play that many minutes for what? They have to win two more games. So for two more games, they have to play. Justin Brownlee has to play 30 plus minutes again, close to 40 minutes a game. Mauubusan si Justin Brownlee. And we saw it. If
Ilang
you
taon na
watch
si
the end of...
JB? Like
Oh,
35, 36? I don't know. Mas matanda na rin siya.
if you watch during the post game, he was limping a bit. I mean, I think he was hit in the thigh in the game yesterday. No,
Yeah,
he kind of
kahapon pa yun actually.
oh. So no, we can't have that. We need Justin Brownlee to take more rest. He rested for what, the last 12.5 seconds of the second quarter. That was the only rest he got.
And
So
last 1 minute of the third. Yun.
last 1 minute of the third. So this is not. I don't think this is sustainable. Tama, Sammy. Justin Brownlee is up there in age already. To rely on him to play 40, close to 40 minutes a night, it's gonna drain on him. And so are the starters also. Now we're banged up, no? Justin Brownlee is nursing, I think, probably a bruised thigh. Kai Soto just got landed on by a 7-foot NBA center, so he's probably feeling some pain. We need guys to step up. That's one of my learnings from this game. And second, I think they found something with this zone defense. We you said it. Our bigs are slow. If they're put on the perimeter, they're gonna get beaten. As shown by Sandro, si Mamu, who played the hell of a game a while ago, saka si Shengelia, who played the hell of a game a while ago. They will just attack the bigs of Gilas who cannot keep up. There's a reason that Mamu is a NBA caliber center. He can play in the inside, he can play on the outside. He has a 3-point shot. So he exposed that earlier. And look for that same thing to happen against Brazil. Brazil has the same makeup. They have Bruno Caboclo, who's a big but doesn't play like a big. He's a big but he plays like a wing, diba? So
Giannis Light.
Giannis Light, exactly. The
Yun
Giannis
yung
of
comparison. Yun yung
Yeah.
comparison before kay Bruno nung coming up.
Yeah, so they will have to deal with the likes of a Bruno Caboclo. And I think despite Coach Timko not liking zone defenses, he may have to go to that again in the game versus Brazil. I think he found something. He found something here. The other thing is confidence. Yung tama si Sammy. If there's one thing that the bench got a while ago, it has to be confidence. Yeah, they had a bad game against Latvia, but they responded. They played well. CJ Perez scored off the bench. Heck, even Calvin Oftana, despite having some boneheaded turnovers, scored off the bench. So, sayang hindi counted yung buzzer beater niya. It would have been a nice...
Sayang yun.
Sayang. Ang ganda ng lead pass ni CJ Perez nun. Sayang. But yeah, they have to get something yung from the bench. They really do. What else did I see from this game? That's basically it. Maui, anything to add?
Yeah, ako ang key takeaway ko is yung resiliency that they showed kanina. I really like how they clawed back being 16 down 0 and 16, 'di ba? Kasi we're not kasi it happens to the best of the teams, 'di ba? And they can easily claw back, but usually when teams, lower tier teams, when they get into a big hole, they're not able to claw back. But during the game a while ago, this was something that we proved that we can do, 'di ba? We can really, I think that's something that we learned during the first two games. We can really hang with the top teams in FIBA, 'di ba? That's the number 6 team, and I think Georgia's 20 plus. Those are two very good European teams who are also on the rise. These two teams are also on the rise. That's one of my key takeaways. I think Sam mentioned na yung hope. I think that's very good for the future program of Gilas. I really like how Coach Tim has been giving yung green light sa younger players also. KQ taking that 3-point shot sa fast break. I think that would be good into recruiting players into the pool. From the rumors that I've heard, they will expand the pool after the Olympic qualifiers, or maybe if we make the Olympics after that, 'di ba? Uh, it's gonna be a different show against Brazil. I think I was talking to one of my friends. Brazil has 6 ex-NBA players.
Jesus
Gui
Christ, have
Santos,
mercy.
Neto, Caboclo, Lozada, Felicio, Huertas. So they have a ton of players who have
Marcelino
international
Huertas is still
experience.
playing.
He's still
Wow, we
playing for,
know.
Yeah, I think he's still
Grabe.
playing. So they have a mix of young guns and veterans on that Brazil team. This team also surprised, I think, sa FIBA Americas. So we'll see. We'll see where it heads. We'll definitely see you guys again after the game against Brazil. But it can still be Montenegro pala. It can still be Montenegro. It's just more likely that we'll go against Brazil.
Oo nga, actually hindi pa. The games are still ongoing
Yeah.
ngayon, so we'll find out
It can
later.
also be Cameroon, 'di ba? It can
Oo,
also be Cameroon.
kung
But
manalo, no? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Uh,
So,
just likely it's gonna be Brazil.
Gab,
Mamu was a
before we
good
end.
test though. If
Yeah.
you're gonna face the likes of a
Caboclo.
Bruno Caboclo, because he's very similar. A big man who can play on the perimeter, can shoot threes, and is very quick. Kudos to Mamu. I love how he played. He should get more minutes. Whenever he gets minutes, he produces it. I know. I pick him up off the waiver wire in my fantasy team. So shout out to
Malakas
Mamu.
Yun.
mag-rebound. Malakas
Oh,
mag-rebound si Mamu sa
Rebounds.
NBA, 'di ba?
oh,
He
and,
does what he gives
oh.
what is needed, 'di ba? Mamu gives what is needed.
Yeah, and another thing, yung point guard nila, si Thomason, I don't know, he looked like DeJounte Murray. He plays like DeJounte Murray or he looks and plays like DeJounte Murray.
Oo
So,
nga,
Yung
no?
body type,
yung yung body
Yeah.
type niya. And so, he's also a mid-range shooter, yung just like DeJounte. So, uh, that was also one of my notes from the George team. But yeah, guys, I'm just so happy. And I'm just so tired also. This is my
Sulitin natin to, guys. Mag-celebrate tayo, no? So, enjoyin natin tong panalo na to. We made it to the semifinals. Okay? Sige. So, wait. Sorry. May sasabihin ka pa pag Gab. Sorry, I cut you before we end.
No, I'm good. We're just so
Okay.
happy. Let's
Okay. Let's end this
Nagiging
show.
speechless na tayo.
Oh,
'Di ba?
let's
Kasi
end this
sinking
show.
in. Everything is sinking in.
Pagod na kami. I'm sure pagod na rin kayo. This is it's been a crazy past not even past 2 nights, diba? Past 24 hours for us. But congrats to Gilas Pilipinas. We're all happy right now. Let's celebrate. Good luck dun sa next games nyo. Laban lang, puso. We'll see you again next
3
time.
pods
Bye-bye.
in 24 hours, guys. 3 pods in 24 hours.
Let's